Thank you very much for taking the time to answer our questions. Today is China's Advertising Conference. Is this your first time at the conference?
Yes, it is.
What are your initial impressions?
It's really excellent, very enthusiastic. There's a good sense of learning, an exchange of learning, and I've met some extremely talented and passionate advertising people.
Well, Omnicom is clearly a leading advertising group and agencies in the world. What do you think that China can learn from the practices of Omnicom around the world?
Well, I think actually we have more to learn, but I hope that we can help collaborate between China and other markets that we work in. I was just in Brazil 10 days ago in Peru, and as I was there, I was thinking of how connected we all are, including China. And I hope that Omnicom can help connect China with other markets. I hope we can start to see some of China's brands be embraced. Certainly you did a good job with the Olympics and having the world embrace the Olympics. It was really wonderful.
Excellent. As you know, Youku.com is the leading online video website in China. So I'd also like to ask you some questions about what your views are in terms of online video advertising development around the world over the last 2 to 3 years, and what are the things that we should pay the most attention to, what are potential bottlenecks you see in terms of development of the industry?
I think the biggest issue, if I may say so, that would be helpful for your company to help take a lead on is the issue of self-regulation. In a world where content is created by individuals, I think the issue of how to assure truth and honesty in terms of information is something that the industry would be better served if it could figure out how to self-regulate as opposed to expecting governments, which is always more expensive and takes more time. So I've actually spoken on this earlier this year, and I'd like to see your company and others come together and figure out how to bring some uniformity of self-regulation and standards to the information that's disseminated.
Absolutely. In terms of content as well as advertising regulation, it's something very needed in the industry. But just to give you a perspective, in terms of the product as well as the business model of video websites in China, they're actually very different from YouTube. In the sense that, for example, in Youku, over 2/3 of our content is actually professional syndicated content, and only less than a third is user-generated video. And that's basically because...
Do you control that, or can a user generate their own content and put it in your
database?
Your database.
We actually
there's no restriction for them if I wanted to go into your database.
Actually, every video that comes on Youku is screened under very strict standards. Because one of the very important themes we have from the very beginning of Youku is to create a safe advertising environment for agencies and advertisers. And that's something I think we differ very different from how YouTube really manages this business. In terms of its reach and traffic, as well as social influence, we can see the tremendous potential of YouTube. But on the other hand, we see a lot of racy content. We see a lot of inappropriate advertisers, frankly. That is something that we wouldn't find acceptable here in China, whether it is for regulation purposes or also for the purposes of advertising as well. And so I think the model in China is actually very, very different because the media environment in China is very fragmented. Whereas in the US, for example, you talk about 4 big television stations, and Hollywood has a lot of the copyright power. In China, you talk about hundreds of television stations and thousands of film and television production companies. So we serve as a role similar to portals in the sense to syndicate content around China, most of which are regional and local. So I agree with you, this is something we really need to tackle as an industry for agencies and clients to feel comfort in terms of online video advertising.
How receptive are you finding other syndicators to be to sit down at the table and talk about these things?
Because of the fragmented nature of the content industry, especially a lot of the television stations are regional, provincial, and city-based.
I mean outside of China.
I mean
in terms of bringing the industry to some kind of common standards?
Sure. I think we're, for example, working with MPA and Universal and Warner, a lot of these companies. But in terms of the usage within our website, we find that mostly it's Asian-based content that's the most viewership. And so we reach out to work with Korean, Taiwanese, and Hong Kong content besides Chinese content. And so on the music side, however, I think there is a portion that is universal in terms of Western as well as Chinese content.
And I would assume with your younger segments, there's more interconnectedness across cultures. Is that true?
Absolutely.
That's why it would be good if you could lead the way.
Yes. In fact, when we were having our panel discussion this morning with all the delegates of the China Advertising Association, which Youku was a part of, everybody kind of said, "You guys are the leader in online video. We want to see open and transparent video measurement standards as well as results measurement." That is